Okay, I've been doing coding all day and I need to do something else now. So let's get on with it. Hello there, I'm Simon. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm talking about D&D again, Dungeons and Dragons, because it's awesome. More specifically, today I'm doing Ginny D's D&D Tag, which is a list of 15 questions about D&D. So today I'm going to be answering those 15 questions and telling you something about my D&D experience, and then I'm going to tag a couple of people to do it as well. That's how tags work, right? I'm gonna do it anyway, so here we go. Question 1. What was your first D&D character? Well, I actually have two answers for this. The first character I made was an elf ranger, a wood elf ranger called Emrys Ulchaban. And I wanted to keep that character for when I would get around to playing a campaign. At this point, about a year and a half later, I have yet to play my first campaign. But also I've come to the conclusion that this character wasn't bad, but was kind of simple. It was a little too straightforward. I feel like at this point I don't particularly want to play him anymore, so I guess I won't. Like, there's other characters I've made in the meantime that I would prefer playing. So my first character I made was Emrys Ulchaban. The first character I played was the halfling bard known as Homer Chowton, which I played in the one-shot that was the topic of episode 1 of Tales from the Dungeon. If you want to see it, links will be where links are to be found. Question 2. Which D&D class is your least favorite to play, or do you not want to play? There's definitely classes that I like more, that I prefer playing over the rest, I guess. But I don't really think I have a least favorite. If there has to be one, I think the one that I would least see myself playing, or that I would see myself making a character of the least likely, that's not really a sentence, but here we go, would have to be cleric. It just doesn't appeal to me as much as some others. And like, when I look at the list of classes, with pretty much every one of them I can imagine myself making a fun character with that I would like playing. With the cleric, not so much. Question 3. What D&D spell would you most want to have in real life? Well, the obvious ones would have to be Mage Hand, Light, Message would be really cool. I believe there's a spell called Dimension Door, which lets you teleport, and that would be awesome. So I'm gonna have to say Dimension Door. Question 4. What's your favorite D&D monster? I like the owlbear, but I don't consider them monsters. I consider them like animals. Other than that, dragons are awesome. Anything from Greek mythology, like the Minotaur, the Sphinx, stuff like that, all awesome. Yeah, I think I have to go with the owlbear, which I think has a lot to do with them being the mascot of the Akeford Adventuring Academy. Question 5. What's your favorite NPC or villain that you've encountered or created? For this one, I think I have to go for the one-shot I DM'd myself, which is episode 2 of Tales from the Dungeon, in which I had an NPC which was a bartender, the owner of the tavern, who was also a witch. She was called Judith, and I really like her. I ended up, like in the first half, I didn't have a character sheet for her, but the players kinda gave the impression that maybe she would be needed in a fight. In like the break between both halves, I made her a character sheet, just to be sure. Yeah, I might want to actually play her as a PC now. Question 6. Has one of your characters ever died, and what killed them? Well, about that. Technically, yes, because I killed them. This goes back to the same one-shot that I DM'd, and in it, my previous player character, Homer Chowton, is an NPC, and I decided to have him killed by a werewolf. The reason I did that was, well, I needed a victim, and I could have made the victim like some random villager that the party have never met. But, well, by making it someone they knew, they cared. That made them more invested than they would have otherwise been. Also, I knew it would get a reaction, which it did. Question 7. What's your best natural 20 story? I don't roll a lot of natural 20s. There is one story that I would like to tell, which is in like the long shot we're playing now. Long shot being something that should have been, or was meant to be a one shot, but turned into pretty much a campaign at this point. And in that, I play a rogue. This story takes place in like the basement of a tavern, where there's like fights going on. And our party consists of, well, a ranger, a bard, a druid, and 2 rogues, including myself. And there was this dwarf going around, taking bets. So the other rogue tried to pickpocket him. She failed. So the dwarf noticed and started talking to her. That's when I went, I would like to use that distraction to pickpocket him. And I rolled a nat 20. So that was pretty funny. Question 8. What's your best natural 1 story? I'm not gonna say that I don't roll nat 1s a lot, but when I do, I just don't really do it in a significant or a memorable way, I guess. There was one occasion that I don't remember if it was a nat 1, but it was a failure anyway, so I'm gonna just use that one. Like in the same one shot again, my character has a special homebrew weapon that, well, it has a surprise in store if you hit. Very first time I tried to use it, I missed. That was awkward. Question 9. What's the highest level you've ever played a character to? Well, I haven't played a campaign yet, so when I play a one-shot, they stay on the same level the whole time, so there's no real progression or anything. Usually, when we do play a one-shot, it's level 3, so that's what I'm most used to. I did play one game that was meant for level 4 or 5, so I think we made ourselves level 5. As a PC, definitely level 5, but that was like without the progression. Question 10. What's your favorite magical item? Remember that special homebrew weapon I mentioned? They are literally cards, but magical cards. So when you throw them, you deal slashing damage anyway, but as a bonus action I can also decide to make it explode, kind of like Gambit, and I usually do that. Question 11. If you had an IRL alignment, what would it be? I'm pretty sure I would be lawful good. In whatever situation I find myself, I always try to, as much as possible, follow the rules. Which does not mean that I, by default, believe that's necessarily the law. If the law goes against one of my own rules, I would do the right thing rather than the lawful thing. But that's still a rule, even if it is my own. Question 12. If you had to date one of your characters, which one would you pick? Like, dating is not their priority, but I think the most dateable, the most romantically inclined, would have to be the Bard, Homer Chowton, or maybe Judith. One of those. Question 13. Is there a character you want to play, but haven't had a chance to play yet? Well, I have had the idea to, at some point, hopefully, maybe, play a campaign in the Wild West. And I'm not talking like a fantasy version of the West. I'm talking the literal historical Wild West. And for that, I have already made a character. The character being a samurai. And I would love to play that character. Of course, to play that, well, I'd have to find a group who's willing to play a more historical campaign. We'd have to homebrew a lot and adapt a lot to work in a historical setting. I'd have to find someone willing to DM, because if I want to play that character, I can't DM it myself. I'm not sure I will ever get a chance to play this guy, but I would love to. I would love to play a samurai. Question 14. Are you a dice goblin or a dice minimalist? I have, at the moment, about, I think I have 7 sets of dice, but I don't consider myself a goblin. I like having dice, I like having pretty dice, I like having multiple sets because it's useful. But like, if I see new sets, I'm not like, I need to have that. I'm good. Like, it doesn't have to be a lot more than 7 sets for me, so I don't consider myself a dice goblin, but I'm definitely not a minimalist either. So, neither, I guess. Final question. Question 15. What rule or mechanic have you never quite wrapped your brain around? In the first game I DM'd, the Wakadam Horror, one of the players was a druid, 3rd level druid, which means she had wild shape. I didn't really know how that worked. Probably should have looked into that. At this point I have, but I would definitely have to read it again for the next game. Other than that, I can't really think of anything. There's probably plenty of them that I just haven't encountered yet. And that was the last question. It's time to tag some people, right? I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm just gonna tag the 5 other people in the long shot. You know who you are. So I'm gonna be expecting that. Also, I'm gonna tag everyone watching this. So if you're seeing this and you feel compelled to do the tag as well, let me see. I want to see your answers. And I can't think of anything else to say, so let's do the YouTube thing. You know the drill. Comment, like, subscribe, ring the bell, share the video, and down below you can find my socials. So yeah, thanks for watching.